She's pretty incredible. I mean, you watch her and it's unguardable. There's nothing anybody can do to stop it. Like, she's just that dominant, whether it's her mid-range game, she can put it on the floor. She's just so athletic, but also she affects the game on both ends. Like, she's a really good defensive player, great rim protector, just so athletic. And obviously she's been able to shoot the three pretty well this year too. So it's fun to watch. I mean, like I said, like, everybody in the league knows you can't guard it. You basically just live with what she's going to do to you every single night. It's just you contain it as best you can, and she's going to make some shots that are really tough. And like I said, like it's going to be a tall task. It's going to take multiple people. You just hope to contain it the best you can.
Today I can reveal such a topic that has caused controversy in the WNBA: the removal of Sheryl Swoops from the coach's role towards protecting Caitlin Clark, headlined by CPA Charles Barkley. This is not just a quarrel between two basketball legends, it is a much wider conversation on the growth of women's basketball, the friction between experienced vs. younger players, and how this will affect the WNBA growth. This time I would say the WNBA has its own internal evolution and development, but it faces certain threats that may change it. It is no secret that this tale has drama, generational differences, and some popular truth behind the professional sports thing, so make sure you get your seat fast because it is about to get interesting. Why this is important, what is important, and what consequences that can have on the WNBA. There is nothing about Charles Barkley which our society has not criticized, and it seems the stakes have been raised in his most recent polemic. In fact, Barkley went as far as advocating for WNBA legend Sheryl Swoops his dismissal. Why? Because in his view her harsh remarks on Caitlin Clark are unwarranted and more so a threat to the WNBA future. In Barkley's opinion, Clark is the future of this sport, and this is a prospect the league should aspire to invest in any way it can. His position is that Swoops' disparaging remarks are likely to hamper this young talent and convey a wrong impression into the other emerging Beltway stars. Barkley's appeal is not merely a rescue of Clark, rather it is an assertion of the posture to be taken by the WNBA and its quest for more glory. This sparked a very significant discussion. Some agreed with Barkley's point of view, while others argued that he had crossed the line to protect the league's interests. But one thing is clear: this controversy has raised the tension between respecting history and looking to the future of the league. This is not the only time Sheryl Swoops and the rest of the world are in conflict. It is a problem that many sports leagues grapple with. That is the better legacy against new younger players who come in. Swoops remains one of the defenders in women basketball history and has expressed concerns on Clark like developments for her. The skills do not come into play only, but the history of the game and the people who built it. But in contrast, Clark and others of continental age are breaking myths and trying new things which are leading a new fans to the league and elevating its status. Probably such intergenerational conflict is not unusual in the domain of sports, but its impact is particularly felt in WNBA as the age of the league is still in its infancy stage, with a limited number of older players who are virtually responsible for the establishment of it. The risk is how the league handles this tension, as it can either promote an environment that is good for progress and invention or cause factions that can stifle its growth. The challenge is to revere the past but not be bound by it as the WNBA looks to move forward, and this balance is essential for the growth of the league over time. The increasing popularity of the Women's National Basketball Association has been one of the most intriguing phenomena, especially with players like Caitlin Clark. New one of her races, for example, has attracted a whole new audience and generated interest in girls basketball as it never has been before. People can buy the tickets, post and fan pages, create contents, and as the league itself becomes more and more popular, so is the activity. This is important not only for the WNBA but more broadly for women's sports, since it captures a substantial and increasing market for these contests, but at the same time new opportunities, also bringing a new set of problems. The league has to focus on the rise of this power and continue to market its upcoming stars, but at the same time preserving the legacy of senior players. The example of Caitlin Clark has proven the existence of a market for competitive women's basketball, and now WNBA is presented with the challenge of meeting it. All this will be possible if the right compromises are made. How to embrace Clark without overshadowing legends of the game like Swoops. Handled properly, it may usher in a completely new phase of expansion and achievement in the history of WNBA. The news of LOL Swoops. His comments directed toward Caitlin Clark throughout the WNBA was highly upsetting to its members. Swoops is a renowned player, an opinionated speaker, yet this time her views appeared particularly sensitive. Some dismissed her words by suggesting that she is feeling sensitive or envious witnessing the emergence of younger athletes. Others saw in a reasonable argument Coming from one who knows that appreciates the evolution of the game, it did not matter whether there was animosity or empathy towards Swoops. The response to her comments has been drastic. There has been a discussion about the necessity of the veteran players in the league and what would happen if their voicing opinions starts affecting the young players' careers. For Caitlin Clark, the constant criticism might end up being the very source of motivation to attempt and show off more, or may simply create distress she does not need to experience. To the WNBA, it serves as a good reminder that encouraging positive behavior as well as stifling any actions that could bring harassment amongst players, no matter their level, should be prioritized. How the league reacts to such an eventuality will be crucial, since that will determine the manner in which similar occurrences will be approached in the coming times. The task will be to find a solution to the issues raised by Swoops, and at the same time foster players such as Clark. As a result of this controversy, the WNBA seems to have reached an important point in its evolution. The decision of the league on how the case of Swoops and Clark will end could affect the future of the league. If the league is too young-centric and aggressive on shedding old ways, it risks losing out many of the veteran players who are in the twilight of their careers. On the contrary, if it does misses the voices of its older generations and veterans, it may lose its historical aspect and image. This is a fine line which the WNBA must tread very carefully so as not to upset the status quo. The end of the situation is likely to bear on the Jugadors' relationship and those of the league and fan sponsors and the wider supporting industry as well. Here the WNBA has an opening for proving its capacity to change without losing its tradition. That's the choices that are going to be made in the next few weeks and months, may well be ones that are going to be regretted for years to come. This is much more than a squabble between two players. It's how the WNBA presents itself to the world, which continues to develop and carbonation a very competitive sports industry. When Charles Barkley demanded Sheryl Swoops his resignation, it was not deal with Caitlin Clark alone, it was about the future of the WNBA. Provocative as is his trademark, Barkley acknowledges players such as Clark who have the potential to elevate the league to greater heights. For him, if the WNBA has to survive, it has to embrace its emerging stars fully and create space for new ones. His position illustrates why change must be embraced, and sporting codes are characteristic the WNBA should espouse if at all it is to continue its surprising growth. Saying this, Barkley does so with the vision of nobody losing, but everybody going on the path of growth and innovation, while still paying respect to where the league has come from. He explains that when you look at the long-term, keeping things as they are held is not enough sometimes, and it is necessary to be ready to risk everything for the right changes, which is what will mean attracting viewers and sponsors by trying to tilt the profile towards the likes of Clark. The comments of Barkley present an important remark that WNBA will be as prosperous as it is able to reshape, welcome young and it advance figures and take the women's sports to the new level. At the moment, such analysis is particularly warranted as the WNBA finds itself in this difficult situation. Certainly how the league decides to take this situation would affect the future of the league for the better or the worse. The struggle for younger players between historic figures such as Sheryl Swoops and the likes of Caitlin Clark is symptomatic of the turbulence the WNBA seems to be undergoing, and with such hurdles do come avenues for progress and change. A remarkable opportunity presents itself to the WNBA at this moment, which is to demonstrate how it will tackle similar challenges in the future without losing touch with where it came from. As we wait and see how this drama unfolds, that is the main dilemma. Will the WNBA come through for its new seemingly numerous breeds of talents, or it is still better to clutch on the former glory whatever it costs future advancement? In either case, one thing is evident: Caitlin Clark and other newly recruited WNBA players are not going anywhere, and they are not the only ones.